Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriyet Shautam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhasatam Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be covering Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 15, verse 36. This is the last verse of this chapter. And it's a beautiful verse. Aham atmantaro bhayo anavrata sarvadehinam yata bhutani bhuteshu bahiranta swayam tatha aham atmantaro bhayo anavrata sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahirantah swayam tatha aham atmantaro bahyo anavrata sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahirantah swayam tatha aham atmantaro bahyo anavrata sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahirantah swayam tatha aham atmantaro bahyo anavrata sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahirantah swayam tatha aham atmantaro bahyo anavrata sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahirantah swayam tatha aham atmantaro bahyo anavrata sarvadehinam yatha bhutani bhuteshu bahirantah swayam tatha aham, I, Atma, the Supreme Lord, Antaraha, existing within as the Supersoul, Bahayaha, existing externally in my all-pervading feature, Anavrataha, uncovered, Sarvadehinam, of all living entities, Yatha, just as, Bhutani, the material elements, Bhuteshu, among living entities, Bahi, externally, antaha, internally, swayam, myself, tatha, in the same way. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Just as the same material elements exist within and outside of all material bodies, similarly, I cannot be covered by anything else. I exist within everything as the super soul and outside of everything in my all-pervading feature. Purport. Lord Krishna is the entire basis of meditation for all yogis and philosophers. And here the Lord clarifies His absolute position. Since the Lord is within everything, one might think that the Lord is divided into pieces. However, the word anavrataha, or completely uncovered, indicates that nothing can interrupt, disturb, or in any way infringe upon the supreme existence of the Absolute Truth, the personality of Godhead. There is no actual separation between the internal and external existence of the material elements which continuously exist everywhere. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-pervading and is the ultimate perfection of everything. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in this chapter, Lord describes the mystic perfections, the 18 kinds of mystic perfections. Of them, the first 8 are the primary and the next 10 are the secondary. And we have covered those mystic perfections previously as well, and how these mystic perfections, if they cannot be used in devotional service, they are just impediments. And impediments are also referred to as anarthas. Ana, which is not, which means not. Artha means meaning. So something that has no meaning, that's how they are referred to, these mystic perfections. And yesterday it was very interesting that we were covering some of the aspects. And we did cover the word anavrataha, right? Which appears in this particular verse. Anavrata that is not covered by anything. And where did we cover in this particular verse? Which verse did we cover? Anya bhilashita shunyam gyan karmadi anavritam. Anavrata appears there. Anukulena Krishna anushilenam bhaktiruttama. So anya bhilashita, we covered that very well. That it's not anya bhilasha, it is anya bhilashita. So a devotee does not have any other desire but to serve the Lord. Yet at the same time believes that the Lord is the protector. So if the devotee is in danger, he calls out to who? To the Lord. Not to the neighbor, but to the Lord. And Lord is everywhere. So this particular verse is also very beautiful. Go ahead. Anya Abhilasha is having no other desire. But Abhilashita, that sita is to identify that there is that desire is always there, that the protector is Lord, and the Lord will always protect me. And that's also one of the lame of Sharanagati. Of the 6 lames of Sharanagati, one believes one of the element is that Lord will always protect me. So just like Nand Maharaj, when he went to, on Shivratri occasion, went to Lord Shiva's temple and they were sleeping outside near the jungle, boundary of jungle. At that time, a big snake comes and starts engulfing. What does he say? Oh Krishna, save me, I am a soul surrendered to you. And Krishna comes and immediately saves him. So a devotee always seeks Lord's protection. He looks at Lord, that please kindly protect me. And Lord says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya prati janihi na me bhakta pranashati. O Arjun, declare it boldly that my devotee shall never perish. Now when devotee looks at this, we understand it. But when non-devotees or people who are neophytes, they look at this statement, they kind of like are surprised. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is recited in the 7 days duration, and that's the duration Parikshit Maharaj has given in the remaining part of his life. So after the 7 days, Takshak comes and bites Parikshit Maharaj and his body turns to ashes. Now how did Lord protect it? Because Lord protected Parikshit Maharaj by sending him, calling him back to home, back to Godhead. So he was able to attain the goal of, the very purpose of the life, right? If you have to take a boat from one bank of the river to the other bank, your purpose is to get to the other bank. What happens to the boat is not your concern. So body is perishable anyway. It is bound to get destroyed in duration of time. But are you able to reach the other end? Or is your boat sinking in the middle of the river? So the goal is attained. So Parikshit Maharaj, he never leaves the lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna ensures that he reaches. Now, it's very interesting that devotees surrender to the wish of the Lord. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj, he has surrendered to the wish of the Lord. So if Lord desires him to die, he would agree to die. And he would seek proper process, So he gives up everything and he is only hearing Shravanam. We were talking about that yesterday as well. That devotional life begins with Shravanam, hearing. And Parikshit Maharaj for 7 days, he hears Srimad Bhagavatam, and just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, he attains perfection. And he is able to go back to Godhead. And then Kirtanam, who attains perfection with Kirtanam? Shukdev Goswami. 7 days, he is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. And just by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, he attains perfection. And then, so Kirtanam is singing the glories of the Lord. Well, Shravanam is hearing the glories of the Lord. So these two personalities are very much, they are the recipient of the recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukdev Goswami is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And later it is recited by Sutta Goswami at Naimisharanya to the 1,000 sages. So very beautiful. It's again that Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. Having no desire but accepting Lord as the protector at the same time. Jnana karmadi anavritam, not covered by jnana, the monistic knowledge, the impersonalistic knowledge, which is like our body will merge, means our soul, as living entities, we will merge in Brahman, not covered by that, because jnanis, they are into that. Jnanis are doing analytical study to merge into Brahman. And Lord even protects analytical study, we studied yesterday. And karmadi, all the different works, activities that are performed, not being covered by those as well. And how do you then serve the Lord? Anukulena Krishna, the way Krishna desires. Now, we actually covered some of the examples of how Krishna desires. So he sends his representative, right, as the spiritual master, to teach us how he desires. And the acharyas in the disciplic succession also, shows by their example and by their writings as how he desires to be worshipped, he desires to be served. For example, Narad Panchratrika, that's the manual that teaches us how to do Archana Vidhi, deity worship. So it's very much there. And so we follow these scriptures and abide by these scriptures because Shruti, Smriti, Purana Adi, Panchratrika Vidhi Vina, it's all disturbance if we don't follow the scriptures, if we don't follow the words of the acharyas, then we get deviated. So yesterday, we also covered, and again today we are covering the remaining aspect as how we have to reestablish our relationship with the Lord. Right? Coming to the material world, living entities, we have forgotten that we are constantly serving. That's our nature, dharma. Dharma and religion, they are two different words. They are misinterpreted sometimes to be synonym, but they are not. Dharma is the intrinsic nature of something. Like dharma of sugar is sweet. Sugar is always sweet. So similarly, dharma of soul is always serving. And who? Jivera Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas. So the very dharma of a living entity is to be an eternal servant of the Lord. So serving is the very nature of the soul. So if you don't serve Krishna, who do you serve? Maya. You serve the material energy. You serve your senses. And that's sense gratification. That's what you are seeking. not realizing that these senses are going to be destroyed one day. And then you would be further frustrated because you are serving the wrong master. And in this verse, it's very beautiful because Lord is giving the example of material energy. That within this body, our gross body is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And at the same time, things around us that we see in this material world are also made of these 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, because we are looking at the gross aspects. And of course, living entities, we also have subtle bodies, which are the 3 elements: intelligence, mind, and false ego. Why is it called false ego? Because it's identifying with the body. So that's why it's false ego. Otherwise, ego is a good thing, because ego basically identifies what is our identity. So living entity, when is in constitutional position, then false ego aspect goes away and the ego aspect comes into being. Now, when Lord is describing the mystic yoga, he's actually in this particular verse is saying, just like material elements are existing inside, because inside our body is still earth, water, fire, ether, in some constitutional form or other, they are existing, yet at the same time they are existing outside. Similarly, Lord is also pervading inside as Paramatma, and outside in his all-pervading form. And which all-pervading form is he talking about? His universal form. We kind of covered it yesterday as well. He's talking about that in the material universe, he's appearing in the form of his universal form. And Arjuna was able to see because he was given divine eyes. Now, also some reference of universal form came into being, but we'll come to that later. Let's focus on some of the aspects that we covered yesterday. So now we are discussing about universal form. And Srila Prabhupada, yesterday people were asking me, when I gave the reference of a pilot, captain in an airplane, he came to ask some questions of Prabhupada, and he was asking. And later Prabhupada, on his arrival at Berkeley, California, during his arrival lecture, he covered that particular aspect. So that was 15th of July 1975, when Srila Prabhupada, he flew from Philadelphia to Berkeley. And during the flight, the captain, he came out from his cockpit and he was conversing with Srila Prabhupada. And the captain, he asked very specific questions which were revealed by Srila Prabhupada later. And Srila Prabhupada actually acknowledged how intelligent these questions were. Means he was saying this pilot, the captain of this aircraft, he was a very intelligent person. He was asking, if everything is created by God, then what is evil? How come evil came into existence? That's his curiosity. And Srila Prabhupada says, well, if good is created by God, evil is also created. I mean, everything, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, everything is created by him. Right? Then, this is surprising. He's like, what is the use of evil? He's like, evil is actually created, means it is our perception. For God, it's all good. And then Prabhupada gave the example of sun. When you look at sun, there is no darkness in sun. It's full of light. And when you look at sun, the light falls on you as well. So you are in direct vision of light. So similarly, when you are constantly serving Krishna, when you are serving God, it's all good. Yet at the same time, when you turn your back towards the sun, you see a shadow. And you say, oh, this is darkness. So similarly, when we turn our back to Krishna and not follow his instruction and seek sense gratification, that is evil. Now that will scare you, because so many times we fall in the hands of evil. Seeking sense gratification. But that's the reality. Srila Prabhupada is revealing right there that this is evil every time that we are seeking sense gratification. We are turning our back to Krishna. We are actually we are creating darkness. But for Krishna, there is no evil or good. Everything is good for Krishna. He's on an absolute platform. And we covered the example, like when he is tearing off the body of Hiranyakashipu, he's liberating Hiranyakashipu. When he's blessing Prahlad, he's liberating Prahlad. So whoever comes in contact with sun, just like it disinfects, the sun rays have that purifying characteristic. Similarly, whoever comes in contact with Krishna, he is purified. directly or indirectly. And it's very interesting that Srila Prabhupada, sometimes he would be walking and there would be some laborers going in a truck, and they would be like saying, oh, those are Hare Krishnas, and they would say in a bad tone, as if criticizing. And Srila Prabhupada said, that's all right. They are saying Hare Krishna, they will be blessed. They'll be purified. They will slowly and slowly come closer to Krishna. So it's very interesting that when you look at three categories of people in this world, one who is loving Krishna, second who is hating Krishna or disliking Krishna, to be soft, and then the third one is who is saying neutral. I don't believe in God, leave me alone, I just want to live a good life. Who is the worst? Third one, right? Atheist. And atheists are referred to as demons. And sometimes people say, wait a minute, but I don't want to. No, because you are misusing your freedom. We had that question yesterday. Prabhu asked that question, like, what if I give up my freedom? That's what they are trying to say. But they are misusing the freedom. They are not giving it up. So Krishna, he is unlimited in quantity and we are limited in quantity. While quality-wise, Krishna and all his energies, material energy, living entities, everyone is same in quality, but different in quantity. And actually, specifically Krishna says about marginal energy, the living entities, that they are same in quality, but minuscule in quantity, while he is unlimited. And the example Srila Prabhupada gave was a drop from the ocean, a drop of water, and the ocean itself. So living entity is like a drop from the ocean, while Krishna is the ocean. He is unlimited. So some of those examples are there. Now it's very interesting that, this captain, he's bewildered, and now he understands. But he asks a very interesting question. The next question is, then how can one be at peace? How can one become peaceful? And to that, Prabhupada gave the example of peace formula. The last verse of chapter 6 in Bhagavad Gita. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvalok maheshwaram suruhidam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam. I am the benefactor. He is the receiver of all the sacrifices, all the offerings done in a sacrifice. He is the enjoyer. Sarvalok Maheshwaram. Sarvalok, all that can be. Maheshwaram. He is the proprietor of all that can be. Material universes, spiritual universes, everything. And all kind of energies that exist. Anything that we can perceive. He is the proprietor. Surhidam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the best friend of every living entity. Gyatva Mam, who knows me in this manner, Shantim Richati, is at peace. So all you need to know is three factors. That Lord Krishna, he is the Purusha, he is the enjoyer. Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshmi Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Kori Vaishnavind ki jai. So only three factors you have to know. That Lord Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, he is the only Purusha, and all others are enjoyed. He is the proprietor of everything, and he is the best friend of every living entity. And once you believe this with all your heart, then you are at complete peace. Because then you realize that nothing happens unless Krishna desires. Now, coming to this, the concept of good and evil from our perception in material world still exists because we, living entities, are the cause of all the evil that happens here. Of course, created by Krishna, but perceived and experienced and executed by us. We should not say that, okay, we are covered by Maya, so Krishna is covered by Maya. That should not be the right. He is never covered by Maya. And this particular verse reveals that. Anavrataha. He is not covered by the material energies, the three modes of material nature. And so, we also have to reestablish this relationship. Once we understand that, okay, we are at peace, but then we cannot give up our freedom and we cannot misuse our freedom. So if someone is walking and they find a dollar bill on the road. So there are three responses Srila Prabhupada identified, one can have. First is, they can pick up that dollar and put it in their pocket, later to use for their own sense gratification. That's stealing, right? Well, the second one is, they would leave the dollar and say, okay, I don't have nothing to do. So now the first example of stealing was for the people who are thieves. Second, people who are saying, I have nothing to do. Actually, that one is also a thief, but there is a variation between the two. I have nothing to do is because they are not using the abilities they have been given. The freedom, the time and all the energy that has been provided to them, all the potencies that they have been provided, they are not using those in the right order. And the third person is the right person who picks up that dollar and identifies who's the owner, who lost this dollar and gives it back to the owner. And of course, when you realize that everything is owned by who? By Krishna, has to be used in his service. Once you use in his service, then it is properly utilized. Now let's take the example, those first two examples. One is using for their own sense gratification, right? So they are demoniac and they fall down from their position and they have to suffer through hellish conditions. And that's just the karma cycle. If you do good, pious activities, you have good reactions. If you do bad, then you have bad reactions. So you have to suffer. Well, the case of I don't want to do anything is also very interesting. That means I want to give up my freedom, take away this freedom. Lord Krishna doesn't want robots. He wants loving exchanges. On the absolute platform, the exchange is all loving exchanges. It's not a trading exchange like between a master and a slave. And we covered some of those pastimes as how Lord Krishna is having loving exchanges with the Gopa boys in Vrindavan, having loving exchanges with, his father Nand Maharaj, Yashoda Mai. He's constantly having loving exchanges with his devotees. And that's one of the reasons he never steps out of Vrindavan, because those devotees are loving him with such a dear, such an affection that Lord Krishna, Acharyas have said, never step out of Vrindavan. We had some of the occurrences we covered for Gopashtami. We also covered some of the instances where, Lord Krishna has a headache. Such wonderful pastimes, such sweet pastimes, where he is revealing how he wants to be loved. And then of all the cases, when Krishna, he appeared in Dwapar Yuga and he's giving whole Bhagavad Gita to humanity, at that time also people derided him. So they do not know how to, love him. So he appears as in the form of his own devotee, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appears in the form and to show how to love him. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared in the mood of Radharani, as showing the topmost love of Godhead. And by chanting of the mantra, he is saying you can invoke that dormant relationship just by raising a hand and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So we have to reestablish that lost relationship. Now how do you reestablish that lost relationship? Well, there was an example we discussed yesterday of a head cook in a kitchen. And in the Krishna's kitchen, who's the head cook? Radharani, yes. Who knows about Durvasa Muni? He had actually given a benediction to Radharani. She actually pleased Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni blessed her that she will never have to cook the same recipe again. And all her recipes will be amazingly sweet, amazingly wonderful in taste. So now when Yashoda Mai hears that Radharani would never have to cook the same recipe again, she'll always cook something new and it will be amazing. And the best has to be given to the best of the personalities. And who's the best of the personalities? Lord Krishna. So she wants Radharani to come and cook every day for Krishna. Now Radharani has to come and she comes every day just to cook for Krishna. So that's why she owns the kitchen. We have to be very respectful of the kitchen area. And if the head cook, asks you to do something, that means she's actually giving you a part in her service. And her service is loving service. Right? So when you go in the kitchen to cook something for Krishna, she is giving you an opportunity to participate in that loving service towards Krishna, to please Krishna, to reciprocate her love through you. She is making you the instrument. Like Lord Krishna to Arjuna, he said, I have already killed all these people. In Bhagavad Gita 11:33. You can only be an instrument. Arjuna, you can only but be an instrument. You can just be an instrument. So similarly, she is making us an instrument to reestablish, giving us an opportunity to reestablish that loving relationship with Krishna. And we also covered yesterday that we have to follow the process, right? Because if the head cook says, heat the milk, to us the understanding is fire and milk heats the milk. And we pour milk on the fire, that will actually not heat the milk, that will burn the milk or put out the fire. So to properly heat the milk, we have to understand what the process is. That we have to have a utensil, we have to pour the milk in it, we have to light the gas in the furnace under it. And then if it is to be sweetened, then we have to put sugar in it, we have to stir it. There is a process involved. And of course, somebody could say, wait a minute, I have nothing to do with all this stuff, I just want to hold my hand back. Well, in that case, there is no use. By your presence in the kitchen will only create disturbance, because everyone is engaged in serving Krishna. So this is what is going on in Goloka. Everyone is engaged in serving Krishna. And if you say, okay, I have nothing to do with serving Krishna, I just want to, just be party to this, I want to stay here and enjoy. But there is only one enjoyer. Who's the supreme enjoyer? Lord Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. And by serving him, we get supreme bliss. Yes. So there is that, big tussle. So that's why when a devotee or when a person, when a living entity turns his back towards Krishna, of course, then they fall down from their position. We come to this material world because we turned our back to Krishna. That's why we are in this material world. And we are suffering. We are experiencing all kinds of evils. While from Krishna's perspective, there is no evil. Everything is good. Just like sun, there is no darkness. And so, we have to follow the process. And in the case of devotional service, what's the process? Chanting of the holy name invokes the devotional service. So yes, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in the chanting, we are asking for an entry to the kitchen. But once we have entered the kitchen, then what's the next step? Ask for directions, right? You have to know the process, so you have to ask someone for the direction. And the head cook may say, okay, assistant cook, you help. Or maybe someone else in the kitchen, you help give the direction. So now that person who has taken instructions from the head cook in the past is now giving you direction. Right? Now that direction is as good as if head cook had directly given you. Right? You don't have to say, no, I will only accept direction from a head cook, because his representative is giving you direction. It's very interesting that in the same lecture that Srila Prabhupada was giving in Berkeley, he actually said something that even bewildered me. I was like, whoa, what happened here? He says, God is one, understood, Krishna is God. All attractive. God is all attractive. Good. Then he says, Guru is one. He says, some people are nonsensically saying, oh, this is my Guru and that is your Guru. How can there be multiple Gurus? There is one Guru. And it took me a while to recognize that he is talking about Krishna. That the Supreme Guru is one, and he's sending his representatives in disciplic succession, who are actually propagating his message as it is. And that's why they are taking the position of a spiritual master. They are taking the position of assistant cook to give you direction as how to make nice preparation for Krishna, how to make sweet milk for Krishna. So, they are engaging us in devotional service. They are engaging us. I'm just giving you the analogy of a cook, assistant cook, and so forth. And soon, if you continue to follow their instructions as it is, you say, okay, sweet milk is good, but I have a better idea. Let me put some cardamom. And then before you know, you picked up the cardamom bottle, but actually put in some pepper. it may have a wrong effect, right? So you don't try to become over smart. You basically wait for your turn to get more instruction as per the process. And of course, the assistant cook would come and say, now that you have understood how to heat the milk and make it sweet, maybe next time you can put cardamom, you can put some more other things to make it even better, saffron and so forth. So they will give you directions. They will give you, so many acharyas are there. They are giving us nice. Srimad Bhagavatam was revealed to us, right? Parikshit Maharaj, Lord Krishna allowed him to die so that Srimad Bhagavatam can be born. So that in Kali age we can cross over this ocean of nations just by studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's fully potent, provided we have full faith in this scripture. So Krishna has provided so many nice, ways for us to learn and progress in our spiritual journey. And that is the essence, that He is everywhere. And He has sent His representatives everywhere. He even appears in the form of His own devotee and teaches us how to love Him and to follow the process. So my question is still again, so when you're asking for direction, you have to seek someone who is a representative to give you the direction. And that's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updekshanti taj jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana. So we have to seek shelter of a spiritual master. Tad vidhi, as per the process. Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. But before inquiring, and how do you inquire? You inquire submissively, not in a challenging mood. It's very interesting that sometimes people have this, let me judge if the speaker knows what they are speaking about. But that's not the attitude. You should inquire about the doubts that you have. Pariprashnena sevya, and you should render service to your spiritual master. Updeshanti taj jnanam. And then they can give you, instructions, proper instructions in the right science of self-realization. Jnaninas tattva darshana, because they have seen the truth. So that's the process. So of course, Shravanam is where the devotional service starts. And then chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then following the instructions of a spiritual master and accepting a spiritual master as good as Lord Krishna. He's a representative of God. So Srila Prabhupada in the very same lecture he was saying that a representative of God should be considered equal to God, as good as God. But at the same time, he is, Sakshat Dharitva Samasta Shastra. All the Shastras have said that he should be respected as God. But does that make him God? No. Because he is a servant of God and he is very dear to God. And the very verse, Sakshat Dharitva Samasta Shastra Uktas Tatha Bhagavate Vasadbhi Kintu Prabhu Yaha Priye Vatasya. Because the spiritual master is very, very dear to Lord Shri Krishna. That's why we worship him. Just as if he is God. But then he is a servant of God. And Srila Prabhupada, in the next sentence says, and if he thinks that I am being worshipped like God, so I have become God, and I am God, then he's a rascal. So he's very clearly identifying that how a spiritual master should be taken, how he should be respected, yet at the same time should always be, understood as dear to Krishna, not as Krishna. Any questions, comments? Hare Krishna. Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Kori Vaishnavind ki jai, Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.